Another way to look at the role that religion plays in social order is to look at those in the religion versus those outside, or those who are not in the religion. And this is true in Judaism as well as Islam. With Judaism, this is where we get the terminology, for Gentile. In other words, you're either a Jew or a Gentile. Gentile literally means nation. It's a term used specifically within Judaism and refers to anyone not born into the nation of Israel. So if you're not Jewish, then you are, that's right, a Gentile. Now, Islam has something a little similar, but a little bit different. This is where we get the terms Muslim and Dhimmi. What a Dhimmi is, it literally means a protected person. This is used within Islam to refer to any non-Muslim living in an Islamic state, which is interesting. Now, the next thing for us to touch upon is gender. And traditionally, throughout the world's major world religions, women have been honored, but at the same time, they've been given lower status than men just based upon birth. So some different examples. The first bullet point is from Christianity. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands as it is fit in the Lord. The next one, the second one, a little bit longer, is also from Christianity. Women should keep silence in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but they should be subordinate, as even the law says. If there is anything they desire to know, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is shameful for a woman to speak in church. I know I didn't write it. It's in the Bible. And those top two were from Christianity. An example from Islam: men have authority over women because God has made the one superior to the other, and because they spend their wealth to maintain them. Good women are obedient. And then the last bullet point, this is from Hinduism. Women must be under the custody of their husband when married, and under the custody of her son as widows. In no circumstances is she allowed to assert herself independently. So you can see, throughout the world's major religions, women have given lower status than men. Now, when we talk about religious order, this refers to church organization. And the best illustration of this point is in Christianity, and how the Catholic and Protestant denominations are organized. In the Catholic Church, the ministers are ordained. What that means is that they have to go not only to college, but they have to go off to seminary, and they pick up an advanced degree, and then they have to be approved. In other words, just because you've gone through this education doesn't automatically mean that you are going to become a Catholic priest. You have to go through an approval process and then be ordained by someone who is above you in the hierarchy. And then they lay hands on you, and it's an elaborate ceremony. So this is where we get the hierarchy in the Catholic Church. Of course, everybody's familiar with the Pope. The Pope is the head of the Catholic Church on earth. Then underneath the Pope, there's cardinals. Then underneath the cardinals, there's bishops. Then underneath the bishops, there's priests. And then underneath the priests, there's deacons. And then underneath the deacons, there's the laity. Laity is term for the common folks in the church. Now, a person of the laity cannot one day go out and start his own Catholic Church. It just doesn't happen that way. Now, very different from that are the Protestant denominations. And some Protestant denominations the pastors are ordained, but some of them are not. Now, with many Protestant denominations, there's less governance, and instead of having the strict hierarchy that we just talked about within the Catholic Church, the laity, the common folks in the pews, have a greater role, and Protestant churches are often democratic in nature. In other words, there is a governing board, some type of administrative council that makes different decisions based upon vote. So if you're in a Protestant church and your church is getting ready to make an important decision, then you would track down someone on the administrative board and make your voice heard to influence his or her decision when that administrative board sits down and votes upon that issue. Now, in Buddhism, an example for organization would be the Lama. And this is the leader of the denomination of Buddhism, which is Tibetan Buddhism. And the current Lama is the Dalai Lama, which you might be familiar with. He's very important, very influential. He makes the decisions for Tibetan Buddhism, and everybody follows his lead. In Islam, this is where we get the term caliph. And what the caliph is, he is an Islamic civil and religious leader and the successor of Muhammad. So this is an example again of how religious order results in church organization, or how the church is structured. Now, moving to the next topic point of economic equality. Is money evil, or is it something of a blessing? Now, with Hinduism, the gods can influence your wealth. So there's certain gods that naturally you would praise and worship for wealth. You would give alms to the poor for good karma. Right? So that would help out. But if you look, Hinduism is really not concerned with economic quality. Now, as we go through further in this discussion of this slide, it'll help to get some points of reference to develop. So now, in Buddhism, Buddhists should renounce and not pursue wealth. In Buddhism, the purpose of going through life is not to accumulate and get a bunch of stuff. That's not what it's about. Wealth contributes to ignorance because it clutters the mind and it makes you do bad things and make bad choices. Buddhists give alms to the poor for good karma, and Buddhists really aren't concerned with economic equality because, accumulating wealth of any kind is really not desired. So in this reflection, giving away your possessions to, have a minimum of possessions and, not pursuing a raise at work would be good things. So they're really not concerned with economic equality either. Now, with Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, wealth doesn't follow you to the afterlife. As everybody knows, when you die, you go out the same way you came in, which is with nothing. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all teach that wealth is a distraction, it can cause greed, and it can keep you from reaching the afterlife. Yeah. Now here's something really cool with Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All are concerned with economic equality. All three want to improve the condition of the poor. And this is why Jews, Christians, and Muslims are all called to give alms by Scripture. So as we see, as far as economic equality, there's really a difference when we look at the major world religions. So this lecture has hit the 10-minute mark, so we'll continue in the next one.